So let's talk about cholinergic agonist. So this is the picture of King Jong-nam, who people believe, or experts tend to believe that he was killed by a cholinergic agonist. Okay, and these were the suspects in the direct killing or direct poisoning of the person King Jong-nam. So our outline for today is, we'll talk about the cholinergic receptors, muscarinic and nicotinic, shortly, in a brief manner. And then we have the direct acting cholinergic agonist, and then we have indirect acting, the reversible and the irreversible ones. The direct acting are acetylcholine, carbachol, pilocarpine, ethanical. So indirect acting, we have the reversible and irreversible ones. Direct acting include acetylcholine, carbachol, pilocarpine, and bethanical. The indirect acting ones are divided into two: reversible and irreversible. Reversible ones are edrophonium, physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine. And the other ones which are used to treat Alzheimer's disease are donepezil or danepezil. Okay, sometimes you try to remember by saying danepezil, danepezil, dan, I'm done for this, danepezil, okay, for Alzheimer's disease, rivastigmine, and also galantamine. Okay, donepezil, danepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine, they are all used for Alzheimer's disease. And then we have the irreversible indirect acting cholinergic agonist, which includes serine and other drugs. So serine and the other drugs, and then we will talk about the adverse effects, the unwanted effects, or the side effects of cholinergic agonist. So nicotinic drugs, because of their location, okay, they have very limited use because of the places where these receptors are located. And if we stimulate the ganglionic neuronal acetylcholine receptor, okay, in the ganglion, that's going to affect both branches of the autonomic nervous system. So it's going to affect the sympathetic and also the parasympathetic, because the ganglion, as we know, that it's before the target organ. So for example, if there is the target organ, the lungs, for example, okay, so this is a ganglion. Okay, so it will synapse here first, and then only this is the ganglion, and then it will then synapse again in the target receptor. So for example, if this will be the ganglion. Okay, so this is the ganglion. So So just example, this is in, for example, in the lungs, and one is sympathetic and the other one is parasympathetic. Okay, of course, this is not an accurate representation because one should be short, one should be long. Okay, but then just try to imagine that one is parasympathetic and one is sympathetic. So if it acts on the ganglion, okay, so what we're going to see is opposing effects. Because when we are going to see effects here, sympathetic, parasympathetic, and then sympathetic. So if you have action on the ganglion, so it's going to be problematic. Okay, it's going to be a problem. Okay, when you act on the ganglion, it's going to be non-specific and it's going to cancel each other because of the actions of both, because both will be activated, the parasympathetic system and also the sympathetic system. So both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, both of them are going to be activated if we act on the ganglion. So any agent that lacks specificity for the neuronal or the ganglionic receptor and it crosses pharmacologically to the neuromuscular junction, the NM receptor, it's going to cause unwanted effects. So it's going to cause unwanted effects related to skeletal muscle stimulation. So the NN and the NM. So NN is the neuronal and NM is the muscle, or which is in the neuromuscular junction, whereas NN is the ganglion. Okay. So NN is here. So we're going to have the NN, and here is the NM if it's in the muscle, for example. So that's the issue with targeting the ganglion. So we're not going to see a very nice effect. So just again to recap, we have the ganglion, and then we have the target organ, and this is of course not an accurate representation of the whole thing, but just to give you a rough idea that one is, just imagine one is parasympathetic, the other one is sympathetic. But then if you are going to activate the ganglion, so you are going to cause both parts to you'll see the effects of both which are going to cancel each other, so making it quite useless. So nicotine, everyone knows something about nicotine. So nicotinic agonists are either direct nicotinic agonists and also have indirect agonists. So direct ones are nicotine. The indirect ones are the acetylcholine esterase inhibitors. Acetylcholine esterase inhibitors, the ones that we mentioned just now. Okay, these are the acetylcholine esterase inhibitors. And we have the reversible and irreversible ones. So nicotinic stimulation can cause a few adverse effects, a few side effects such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, salivation, and dizziness, which are mainly the parasympathetic effects. So whereas the muscarinic agonist, okay, so this is another group or subgroup in the cholinergic agonist class of drugs, or big class of drugs, because this is a class on its own, you could say. So muscarinic agonists, we have muscarine, which is the prototype agonist for all muscarinic receptors, and muscarine is an alkaloid derived from mushrooms. Okay, and they are the reason for the toxicity that we see when we take poisonous mushrooms. Okay, so when we ingest poisonous mushrooms, the toxicity that we are going to see are due to muscarine. Okay, so it's due to muscarine that you get toxicity with poisonous mushrooms. However, they have quite limited application, limited use due to, again, lack of receptor specificity. So muscarinic agonist, we have pilocarpine and carbachol, which are used for glaucoma, because pilocarpine and carbachol, will make it easier for the outflow of aqueous humor. Okay, so because we know that in glaucoma we have increased intraocular pressure. Okay, it's the pressure in the front area of your eye. Okay, if it's increased, so we sometimes need to reduce it. Okay, we need to reduce it by, one of the ways is by giving pilocarpine. Okay, and also carbachol, and you can also use carbachol, facilitate the outflow of the fluid, okay, the humor, the aqueous humor, and hopefully that will reduce intraocular pressure. Pilocarpine is also used for xerostomia, which is dry mouth, okay, especially in patients undergoing certain procedures and that causes dry mouth. So pilocarpine will help reduce the problems of dry mouth. And then we have bethanicol, another muscarine agonist, which is used for urinary retention, okay, because it stimulates the detrusor contraction and relaxes the trigon. So when you have an retention of urine, means you cannot pass urine. Okay, the urine is it's being retained here. So you need this to, and there is no obstruction here or whatsoever. There's no urinary stone or whatever inside here. So the detrusor muscle is the muscle of the bladder. So, and bethanicol is as we know, it's a parasympathomimetic. Okay, it's a parasympathomimetic choline carbamate that selectively stimulates the muscarinic receptors without effects on nicotinic receptors. So it's, as we mentioned, it's a muscarinic agonist, so it doesn't act on the nicotinic agonist. It doesn't act like a nicotinic agonist. Okay. And bethanicol, unlike acetylcholine, is not hydrolyzed by cholinesterase and therefore will have a longer duration of action. Okay, so when you contract this muscle, okay, this muscle of the bladder, and when you have relaxation of this, so you can allow urine to flow. Okay, it's also used in non-obstructive